Hello, boys and girls. As I was going through your quick check answers on Unit 12, Lesson 4, I was noticing that a lot of us were having some difficulty. So I'm going to be teaching you the lesson again. This is what your student textbook looks like. It says to measure each real object using different units. Then circle the unit you use more of to measure each object. So I'm first looking at this picture. It is a bulletin board, a chalkboard. So obviously you don't have one of these in your house. But what would I use? Would I use feet or yards? Well, which is the bigger one? The bigger of these two units is yards. A yard is about the size of a baseball bat. A foot is about the size of your arm, your fingers to your elbow. So, if it is a smaller unit, I need more. So I'm going to write that on my board here. Small is always going to have more. Okay, a smaller unit, you're always going to need more. A larger, you're always going to need less. So in this example, I am going to use more feet than yards. The next problem number 2, is asking me about a chair. I can measure a chair in my house if I have a ruler. I did suggest that if you do not have a ruler, to order one if you can off of Amazon, or if your mom or dad has a tape measure, you can use that. That they use for building things around the house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over here. I have a chair right here. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put it here at the bottom of my chair right here. So I'm going to measure about 1, 2, 3, about 3.5 feet. Now you can do your measurement a little bit better because you're not just using one hand with your ruler. Your ruler is exactly 12 inches or 1 foot long. So if I use my ruler 3 times, that's going to be 3 feet. What would I use more of? What is the smaller of the two? Inches or feet? The smaller is inches. So if you remember, small, you need more. Large is less. So in this case, I would use more inches than feet. Well, let's look at the next problem here. Okay. A book. So right here, I have Zane's science textbook. It's not even 1 foot. It's not a full ruler. It is closer to 11 inches. So I'm going to say that the book is 11 inches. Okay, it's not even a foot because 1 foot is 12 inches. So this is not even a foot. It's only 11 inches. So what do I use fewer units? I can't even use 1 foot, but I can use inches. So I use fewer units of feet because it's 0 feet. I use more inches. So fewer feet than inches. This is a window. I can take my ruler and measure the window. But again, I use fewer of. Which of these is smaller? Which of these is larger? So yards is the larger one. So when I have a larger unit, I use less. So I'm going to use less yards than I do feet. Notice it says fewer. So I'm going to use, fewer means less. I'm going to use less yards than I use feet. So here it says measure the length of 2 objects in your classroom using different units. I am going to measure this little table that I am sitting at that belongs to my kids. Move my little trash out of the way. And I'm going to measure the length of my table. So hold on a second. I'm going to put the marker there so I know how. That's 1 foot. And it is 1 foot and closer to 9 inches. So I'm going to write that down here on my board so I know it is 1 foot 9 inches. So I measured this table. It is asking me to measure 2 different objects in my classroom, which is my house. So I measured this little table, and then I'm going to come over here to my little table that some of my work stuff is on. This is a different table. I'm going to measure this one. It is 1 foot. So it is 1 foot, and then from where it ended, 4 inches. So I'm going to write it down, 1 foot, 4 inches. Which one is bigger? This one is bigger. So I used more of, so I did about and about. So about how big are they? Actually, so I measured 2 objects. So I'm going to measure this table. Instead of measuring it in 1 feet 9 inches, I'm going to measure it in just inches. So that's 12 inches. And then 9 more. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is 21 inches.